Was it Star on Persia, Eaglry on Roman? No, vice versa. I mean opposite. So we got Eaglry on Persia, Starofknight on Roman. Eaglry spawning as the yellow player over here on the left side, and Star spawning as the red player over here on the right side. So I think it's, yeah, Star's going to go for a double storehouse opening. Eaglry, I think he's going to go for the barracks. He's just getting the wood. Already gathering some food as well, so he can go for a storehouse barracks opening there. So fairly sort of standard aggressive opening versus the fairly standard macro opening, you could say. All my settings are all good in the background there. Yeah, cool. So sorry to not swap the player colors. I mean the score colors to match the player colors. I'm lazy. So we've got Eaglry starting the barracks, like I said, so he's going for a fairly sort of standard aggressive opening for the small maps. Star going for a fairly sort of standard greed opening, standard macro opening for pretty much any map here, where he's just going for all the storehouses he needs to get the resources he needs to age up and throw down the age 2 town centre. Barracks is going to come out from Eaglry, but this is sort of my first casted game on this patch, so for those of you guys that might just be tuning in or sort of watching this as a replay in the future, we've just had a patch that's raised the train times of all of the infantry until you get the conditioning upgrade. Now conditioning used to offer, I think it was like was it a 15% benefit to train time? Now it offers 30. But that's because all the infantry have had their train times increased. So these guys, I think they had a 12-second train time or 11-second as far as. Now they're at 15. Until you get conditioning, the train times have been nerfed. But in order to sort of compensate on the other side, for the macro players, town center build times have also been increased. So Star's actually opted to go for a late barracks, so instead of just tunneling straight towards the town center, he's actually going to get a Castellum to actually defend against this barracks opening here. Because Eaglry, even though those Sparrow train times have been nerfed, like I said, the town center build time's been nerfed as well to compensate, so the early game is slower on both sides. The spear pressure player or the Sparrow pressure player can actually get a shitload of value now, just even with their lower unit count in the early game. And because they've got a lower unit count, they're not struggling to throw up so many houses. They can actually work towards their own economic expansion behind it a little bit easier as well. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword there for the greed players at the moment on this patch. Like, I think opening double dock is super strong, or opening dock barracks is super strong. But I also think that opening barracks into more production is also really, really strong at the moment. While opening the double town center might actually be the weak point in the chain in terms of all your openings. So Eaglry pushing Star over here onto the berries, so he's going to have to allocate extra villagers. He's probably going to get Picker's Gloves and throw up a storehouse here. And these guys are idling. Oh, actually no, he's going to go for the town center. So Eaglry did see that go down with these Sparrows heading in, so he's going to try and pressure it immediately. He knows he can try and get some good villager kills here, because Star, 15 villagers to Eaglery's 18. Now Eaglry, I think he's killed 2 villagers, or killed 1 and forced Star to not have perfect train time, and Star's not producing a villager at the moment as well, so that's going to hurt him a little bit. And these villagers, he's having to micro them with all his heart, but Eaglry, with these Sparrows, they've got a high health pool, they've got nice pierce armor, so this is a great spot for the Persian player to be in at the moment. He's trading a small amount of value here to really hurt these villagers, and if Eaglry focuses down all these low villagers, Star's going to lose a lot for this. So he's down to 16 vills, Eaglery's on 18, Eaglry aging up behind that as well, so yeah, Eaglry pulls ahead with a nice 2 vill lead there. His town centre is only going to be a little bit delayed compared to his opponents, because Star getting harassed that time. It's slowed down his town centre production. Eaglry's just got a nice 6 fills on it. I suppose Star does have the engineer on it, so he does have the benefit of being Roman. So the engineer is like a boosted villager when it comes to the building build time. Now the Persian player is going to be on a bit of the back foot here, so Star ultimately able to defend quite well there. I think Eaglry perhaps could have microed down the villages a bit better, but in saying that, Star did a good job at actually garrisoning the low villages behind that. And Star, right now, having gone for that delayed barracks, that defense might have really proved crucial for him. I think having a mix of spears and legionaries there to actually pressure the spire as they're trying to take down the vills makes it really hard for the person opening with the barracks immediately at the moment. And because, yeah, like I said, the town centre rush is a bit nerfed, perhaps it's a good idea to play a sort of defensive barracks in a town centre opening right now. So Star denying Eaglry's ability to get these sheep, so it was a bit, I wouldn't say necessarily super greedy of Eaglry to do that, killing the sheep there, considering he had the earlier barracks timing, but now he's going to have to throw down a wood storehouse there in order to be able to really gather those cost effectively. His own town centre's finishing up now, so he's on 23 vills, Star's on 24, so Star having that earlier town centre, now pulling slightly ahead in the vill count. He dropped 2 vills, but because he's open with that quicker town centre, he's sort of bought himself the ability to be able to lose up to 3 and come out even or ahead on working count. It's actually, yeah, 26 to 24 at the moment. So yeah, he could have lost 4 vills then, and he only lost 2, so now he's 2 vills up, given that he had that quicker town centre timing. So yeah, going for the delayed barracks into town centre is possibly one of the best openings at the moment on the small map. Eaglry, in the meanwhile, it wasn't necessarily a bad idea to go for the barracks. I just think he possibly got a little bit more value out of the kills there, and because Star had the units over here, possibly needed to try and disrupt gathering on the wood line just to slow down Star's play at this stage. So Eaglry not looking too shabby though. He's got 2 rangers and a stables. Star has also got 2 rangers, but he's still got that Castellum, doesn't have the Praetorium yet, so he isn't going to have any Decurions. So, what's happening to the music here? Oh, it's just a quiet song. Villager counts 32 to 34. That's probably not going to change. These guys are unlikely to miss villager production cycles here until one of them's really aggressive against the other. And army size slightly favouring Star here. I mean, slightly, yeah, they were slightly favouring Star. Eaglry is going to start his Asabara production. Star having a good number of slingers is going to be able to bully the bowmen, but Eaglry already having the Asabara. That's going to be great for him. So first Asabara is actually going on a bit of a scouting run. So check at the lower side of the map here. Eaglry didn't see that coming in, but he's going to... Oh, he's not looking. And he has left the Asabara there, so he can always double back at some point. Little run by here from Star, but I don't know if it's going to get a lot of value because it's going to come in range of the bowman. It's going to really get wasted. The legionaries out of the infantry are probably one of the most tanky under bowman fire, but even still, such a small number of them. Ooh. Star's pulled up there and Eaglry hasn't seen this. But Star... Somehow Star's little force here is gonna... I was gonna say it was gonna make it out here, but no, it's looking to take the fight. Meanwhile, there's a big fight going on down here, and there's no front line for this army of slingers. They are going to be able to push the bowmen back, but now that there's Asabara in the mix, and there's plenty of Spara too. There's not a lot of spears. Those units are all great against these slingers. The one Asabara going to get a couple more kills, but Eaglry needs to try and save it. Yeah, Eaglry is going to save it, so he can potentially just send that all the way back home and take aid tent. He's got aid tent, being Persian. He can send units back home and have them heal up under these storehouses. But he's not gonna. Eaglry, please. Population's favouring Eaglry at the moment, so it's a bit of a nice trade for him then. Star taking it and having to take and engage on his doorstep without a huge amount of a front line. I think his infantry production, I don't think he realised he needed to get conditioning ASAP or get a second barracks then to really be able to maintain the old infantry production. Good number of slingers from him though, so Eaglry's not going to want to overextend until he really has a good Spara and Asabara count to be able to sort of push in and actually dive the slingers. Eaglry is going to pull a whole bunch of Asabara together. It's a bit unlucky of him to not actually notice any of this. I mean, he even saw the villager. Well, his Asabara did. He just wasn't looking. So Star's actually going to have access to 2 sets of berries once that hunt goes down. And there's a gold mine here. And all those things are relatively safe because they could be on this hunt and this gold mine. But oh, maybe Eaglery's pulling back. Has he seen it? He's going to check it. Oh, now I take back everything I said. Star's not safe at all. These villagers are not going to be able to get out of here in time. And Star's army is just defending on his doorstep. And on the wrong side of his base to intercept this other little flank here from Eaglry. So Eaglry, 56 vills to Star's 55, killing a bunch there. Might be able to deny the armory here. I think Star's got a better comp to take this fight, actually. So all these units from Eaglry are going to get picked off relatively quick because it's a big slinger count there to deal with those bowmen. Eaglry hasn't yet figured out. It's another 7 vills there from Star. Way out in the open. So 60 to 55 vills. Eaglry does pull ahead in the vill count with all this hit and run. And that's a nice watch post from him because he's going to get access to all those villages over there. He's going to come in with a little 10-unit army. Just needs to be careful to not have his army too broken up at this point because he has found the hunt there, so he's killed another couple of villagers. But he really needs to form up back in his own base. Oh, this is interesting. Star's going to try and pinch some of Eaglery's berries and tower it. And Star's army, very nice mass up of units, needs possibly just a couple more spearmen. And I think this could be a devastating force for Eaglry to have to deal with at this stage of the game. But Eaglry is getting a lot of value, limiting Star's economy on the edge of his base. Star's on 54 villages, that really hasn't moved for the past minute or so because he's just been bleeding villagers on the outer edges of his base. Eaglry up to 65 villages. And his production is really churning now. He's got a 3rd archery range and a 2nd barracks in the mix there. His armory is in full swing. So Star hasn't started taking any armory upgrades, and Eaglry, his 3rd is about to be on the way. He's got some units here distracting Star, but at the same time Star's pushed into Eaglery's base. There's a nice force here, and he does have a slight army advantage overall. Eaglery's going to have to be patient, and Star is also going to have to be patient. He's going to have to try and look for an opportunity to get a whole bunch of economic or production damage, while Eaglery's going to try and wait for Star to overstep the mark. And he's looking to engage here. I'm not sure if he has quite enough to defend against this. The slingers, though, they really probably need to focus on the bowmen, because the infantry probably should just be left to fend for themselves. He's got enough of a front line here, and Star might have actually sort of broken Eaglry for the moment, as he's Asabara on the edge of the base and the other army got cleaned up. So Eaglry actually doesn't have a huge amount of army right now. His H3 is going to kick in behind this, but Star, for the time being, take that back. Star having to retreat now. But he is going to be able to pull over here and try and get a villager or two. But it is 64 to 58 villagers. So Star Does get another couple of villager kills. 58 to 63. So the villager count did blow out to about 10, but now it's cut down to about 5 with that little push there. That Star did lose a bit of value for that, but he also helped close that economic gap a little bit. That is a lot of Asabara sitting there, camping the gold mine, if you will. I really like Eaglery's map control here, but at the same time, he's gonna start falling victim of what he's been putting what he's been putting Starofknight through here. So Star, his age 3 is a little bit behind Eaglery's, but his population is really solid at the moment. So bigger army once again, and he's only down by 3 villages. Gonna clean up a bunch here too. So this is gonna swing things back his way in terms of the active economy on the map, and that's an armory there of Eaglery's. Bit precariously placed, but Eaglry this time has a lot of Asabara, and he's still a little bit ahead in terms of that armory upgrade lead. Oh, this is bad for Star, because while he was focusing down the armory, he's lost a lot of his army there. So the slingers all going down, and that's what's really... The slingers are what are really shepherding away the bowmen, and now that they've all really fallen, Eaglry doesn't have to worry too much about losing the bowmen, and he is going to be able to transition towards immortals. So he's getting an immortal camp there, as we see. Star in the meanwhile is going to want to have to back off, try and transition to his own age 3 units behind this. He's getting a legionary champion. The Castellum have been upgraded to Presidium, so they're actually going to act like a mini tower, which is really nice for him, because he's going to have to fend off all these Asabara coming in. So Star only down a little bit in terms of the population at the moment. Eaglry taking a really nice defensive position with his base. Star also having done the same with that Castellum upgrade. So Hosiery Roman, both civs have some really nice techs to actually bolster the defensive advantage. Well, this is rough for Star, because Eaglry is going to get a lot of villages here. 67 to 66 is the vill count at the moment, and that town centre, it'll go up, but does Star actually have anything on the way to defend this? Oh, he's just rallying units out of his production. So his army still out on the map. He's trying to really threaten Eaglry, and he might just be able to do so here. So that's a good little ball of slingers there, and as long as they get tapped onto these bowmen quickly and don't focus the Asabara, he can get a lot of value here. So the Asabara are not wanting to go in because the infantry are really pushing them off. All those slingers, now that they've got nothing on standing on top of them, they're right for the picking. So ultimately Eaglry does get fended off the town centre, but not before getting a lot of villagers. So Star's down to 54 villagers once again. Eaglery's at 67. And Eaglry having to defend on his doorstep. Star's continuing to push here. Ooh, Eaglry, good number of Asabara here. He's going to be able to really threaten all these villages and farms. So he's going to go on the woodline villages and then probably onto the farms if they get garrisoned. Eaglry now cleaning up Star's force on his doorstep. There is another little army here, mostly infantry based from the Roman player. He's going to take out all those bowmen and hopefully try and eliminate some of these storehouses and this wood line. But Star is still having to defend against these pesky Asabara. So 71 villagers to 45. Eaglry is actually really pulling ahead in the villager count now. And how do you even say that? Ekis, they're super late there. They're going to be able to clean this up eventually, but Star's villager count is in tatters, and this army of Stars is really all that's keeping Eaglry at bay, because Eaglry has the army to really try and push in here But he's having to just peel off Asabara for now. But all this is really rough for Star. Eaglry, perfect vision and control here. He's going to see the markets. He's going to deny the wood gathering. I mean the gold gathering as well. Star down to 44 villages to Eaglery's 77. And Eaglry walling up his market line area. That town center as well. Going to help really defend the only passage into there. And Star's... Oh! Eaglery's walled in Star's army here. Managed to catch him. And this is really rough for Star. I mean, I think Eaglry was probably wanting to wall that up anyway, just because it'd be nice to help secure the market line throughout his base, but man, that's really rough for Star. Eaglry walling him in there. So Star down to 90 pop, 49 villages. Eaglery's pretty much maxed out. But Star's taken a lot of upgrades behind this. He's done a wonderful job at playing catch up in the upgrade game. In fact, he's even got age 3 upgrades over Eaglry now. Eerie. So Star's been really taking advantage of mid-game upgrade timing. Eaglery's sort of backed off on that approach, and I mean he's probably in the spot where he wants to try and catch up and get ahead again on that, considering he's got that big eco lead over Star now. It's 82 to 50 villages. But in saying that, if Star tries to go for like a bigger army comp than Eaglry and just keeps taking fights, perhaps he can stay in this game. Because he's down, but he's certainly not out. He's managed to take a nice defensive position over half the map as well. There'll be a bit of a demilitarized zone here in the middle, where neither player will really be able to gather. But all this is rough for Star. One patch over here that he hasn't really walled in on his economy. He's going to have to get villages out of. Because Eaglry is hot on his heels. He's got another gold mine over there that I think he's looking to deny. As well as these berries. But there is this gold mine over here that Eaglry could hit. Star. Ooh, Star's got a nice mixed comp here to actually deal with this. So everything gets caught there of Eaglery's. But Star needs to send these units a bit further down to help protect his own market line. Needs to clean up this watch post at some point. Eaglry threatening him off the gold mine, but Star good control there to take the units back and then instantly throw up a fortress next to his production facilities. Make it really hard for Eaglry to push into him until he gets a siege. And Star even shifting villages to the other side of the building. Very smart, but Eaglry is still going to push closer and closer, and he might just have the units to be able to break this initial force and deny the fortress. It's a big number of bowmen. Not a lot of a front line here for the Persian player, and the Roman player, again, this is, you know, right on his doorstep, so he does have that defender's advantage for now. And start having to bring everything back to try and defend this, but he is going to clean up the army ultimately. The fortress is going to finish up, but Eaglery's not really ahead in terms of his army pop at the moment. So 97 villages to 66, so I mean Star must be well ahead in terms of the army size at the moment, because the populations are relatively similar and favouring Star at the moment. A good caravan production here from both players. So caravans have recently had a buff. They used to be a 1 population, 100 resource unit. Now they're a 2 population, 200 resource unit. But they gather, or they carry twice what they used to. Up to 300 gold apiece. I don't think they've got any stats different other than that, so they're just as susceptible to being killed, but they're going to be more valuable one-to-one as well, so ooh, Star's going to have to get these units back here and try and finish off this wall and defend this, because Eaglery's already got some more Asabara here again. And he is finishing up some of his age 3 upgrades now, so Star is going to potentially fall behind in his age 3 upgrade count once again, because he's really only got the age 3 Pierce Armor upgrade. Everything else is just age 2 upgraded. And Eaglry started getting all of his age 3 upgrades. So he's already got melee, damage and armor. Just going to get his Pierce Armor once, but he's getting age 4 first. So, Star in a really nice spot here because he's got his whole army in dealing a bit of damage. And he can really start killing all these caravans. Bullying his opponent's economy now. But Eaglry, he's going to have that age 4 advantage over Star very, very shortly. And the army will be coming in very soon. Eaglry trying to micro the caravans away. And oh, he's going to wall in. He's going to try and wall in Star. I'm not sure if this is a great fight for either player to want to be taking here. But Eaglry doesn't really have a huge amount of range here, and there is a good number of slingers, there is a good number of Ekis, so this will be hard for the Persian to really deal with immediately. So Star's got a good composition here, he just needs to make sure he's focusing down the bowmen. Likewise, the Takabara really need to be focusing down the slingers, but really interesting fight here. I think there might be just enough spearmen to make this really hairy for the Roman player. He's continuing to push here, and Star is not really that far behind anymore. He's on 81 villages to Eaglry's 87. He just doesn't have that age 4 that the Persian player's got, and the caravan's instantly back to work. really nice mop up there from Eaglry. No messing around, and he is taking a forward fortress, so this is really going to hurt Star. Not immediately, considering he's got that huge amount of gold. He's got a good established trade. Oh, perhaps not, because Eaglry's here already. He's going to start focusing down villages and caravans. It's really hard to try and take down the markets now, considering they've got so much health. They are very expensive at 300 wood apiece now, though, and the caravans take longer to train as well. But Eaglry having to back off here. Star does have the echoes there to help clean that up. There is a ram too, but Eaglry has to be careful to not lose that, because these guys are pretty fragile versus melee units. Eaglry trying to get the best spot with his ram that he can. Villagers getting caught out here as well. They're going to probably just hide up the back here and repair. And that wall segment's going to go down. Oh, it does. Yeah, so Eaglry's coming in with the army. He's got some immortals in the mix here now. So these guys are a bit like a mix of a bowman and a long swordsman in one. So they can both do attack from range and from melee. Melee obviously stronger, but not always the best idea. Star is in a really nice spot here as well. Like, he's pretty much maxed out. That wall's not going to go up in time though, so this market line needs to be protected. But Eaglry needs to not get collapsed on and lose everything here as well. So, and Star can always probably look at throwing up markets and running caravans to the other side of his base in the meantime. But Eaglry's actually going to try and wall up the market line. Very aggressive. If he can get the villagers through the gap, and he will get the villagers through. So this is a really tight spot Eaglry's putting himself into, because he's sort of relying on the fact that he's not going to lose everything here, and he needs to get some of these Asabara onto the bowmen to really clean them up. But he does have a good number of immortals. He probably should put them in melee stance. But Star has a good force to defend this. And the wall in the meantime for Star isn't going to go down anytime soon, but Eaglry, how BM is this? He's walled his opponent's trade. Doesn't really have any other form of map control over this side of the map anymore, but he's walled his opponent's trade, so a very, very crafty play by Eaglry, and he's actually dented that hole in the wall there, so he's going to be able to get the villagers back out, flood more units through. He's actually going to try and do some aggressive towering if he can keep the production here. So he's got this fortress and he's got the Palintinon, so Eaglry's really trying to deny any form of trade here for Star. I think he might have done it too. Star might be forced to have to, yeah, he is. He's going to have to try and safe market on this side, try and work towards age 4 and put a town center over here, but then, you know, he's getting pressured from Eaglry's age 4 set up already. So that Plintonon's going to slowly be able to keep chipping away at units and buildings on the edge of the engagement here. All this aggressive tower. I think Star's wanting to go in because he doesn't want Eaglry to start throwing up 3 or 4 more towers because it could get really hairy for him to stick around. But Eaglry does have his age 4 town center now. He's going to have access to another 20 pop of stuff. Star's got his age 4 on the way though, so he was never hugely far behind economically. But oh, this is rough. I don't know why these caravans are coming in. Star, oh, a bit of a misclick there, I think. It's a huge loss for him because right now these guys are a lot of cost to HP, so you don't really ever want to overextend with caravans. Can't just lose them for free like you used to be able to. Eaglry is going to snipe that forward fortress there from Star. Or snipe that fortress there of Star's with his own forward little siege setup. Star is going to have to start trying to short gold gather from here, but he's losing a lot of production to a sneaky ram here, so he's going to start dropping houses too. It's very hard for him to defend right now. Eaglry is just continuing to take upgrades, solidify his lead. Star really possibly needs to try and get some map pressure out here, so there is gold gatherers out in the map. Eaglry is actually cutting villages. Very coincidental that I look over there and Eaglry deletes all those villages. The ram continuing to get value. Oh, there's a workshop, so there's just going to be a ram line. Continual production of rams. The Castellum's on the edge, sort of like this weird tower fort hybrid that builds units. When they're upgraded to the Presidium, they're all going to go down. Eaglery's going to try pinch even more gold off Star over here, and he's continuing to push in, so Star I think might have to tap in game number 1 here because Eaglry mounting pressure on both sides of the base still, even pinching his opponent's gold. That's really going to cripple Star because he's got that shorter market line, that big gold bank of 4k gold. It's all gone. He's down to a last couple of hundred. Eaglry is really denied that market there, and until this gets cleaned up, that wall, Eaglry has really just denied any chance of a good market line here for Star, and Star is now really trickling down 145 units compared to Eaglery's 195 pops, so things looking really rough. The ram is getting more and more value, continuing to destroy production, and because the production was actually part of the wall there, even more buildings inside the base are going to be exposed. Star is just slowly bleeding units on both sides of his base. This is really rough for him. He needs to try and get some units out to just harass Eaglry somewhere. If he can even afford to break away some units now. But he really wants to get to the Plintonon down because it's starting to focus the town center. And oh, this is a big scary dive here. A lot of that cavalry just dying free there, so I think Star is going to have to tap out here because I can't see him getting units out anywhere. That ram, the ram's going to get focused out, so more production here of Stars is going to go down though. He doesn't really have a lot of wood or a lot of gold here. He's run out of trees to safely gather from here other than over here. And GG. Eaglry is victorious in game number 1.